I can only imagine how many inbounds you have at the moment suggesting that they are AI or from their very root and their cause. How are you deciphering which company is truly artificial intelligence amplified or those that are kind of getting on the bandwagon, Cathy?
Well, thanks so much for having me back. And great question, Caroline. This is a question that we think about constantly. I would say the fundamental principles of investing haven't really changed, right? At the core, we're still looking for companies that are solving a very specific problem and have a point of view on their right to win. So that could mean owning a very specific and valuable workflow for the end user. It could also mean having access to and interacting with proprietary and valuable data. But a company should have a point of view. And there are companies out there that have a thin layer of application on top of commoditized infrastructure. For us, those would not be companies that we'd be excited to invest in. I think another very interesting thing that we have to think about as investors is in what situations does it make sense for an existing company to add in AI features into their product and platform. So a great example of this is, many of us use Gmail or Outlook. We can pop open our email and use auto-complete or auto-generate to help us respond to emails. So that's an example of an existing platform integrating, folding in AI into the platform.
That's tangible, right? Like I was at Google I/O, I saw the demo, but Google already owns that, right?
Absolutely.
And so you have all these startups out there in the field. And the thing that I want to ask you is, how confident are you that any of them will ever make money? One example, Character AI. We had Noam Shazir on the show a few weeks ago, and it kind of seems like an afterthought. That's alarm bells for a VC, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, I would say this. I think at Sapphire Ventures, we are building our prepared mind to be ready to invest in AI. And I think it's going to be a tremendous opportunity for VCs in the next 3 to 5 years. That being said, it's very, very new today, right? We want to take some time to see how this plays out. If you think back to previous technological fundamental platform shifts, the ultimate winners may not have been the companies that came out of the first wave. And I think of Google, right, that came after Alta Vista and Yahoo, and I think of Facebook, who came after MySpace and Friendster. So for us, it's all about learning about the current environment and the market and watching what's going to happen and being prepared to invest when the timing feels right.
Earlier in your career, you were looking at China. I know it's an area you thought about. How fierce is the competition between the entrepreneurs here in the United States and what entrepreneurs in China are doing? As a VC, how do you navigate that field?
I would say AI is certainly a very, very competitive field, but I think it's a mistake to only look at it as US versus China. It's really a global dynamic. The reason companies all over the world are investing in AI is because the tremendous potential for AI to transform possibly every industry out there, right? And maybe this is me putting on my optimistic hat, but I do think that global solutions, global collaboration is what is needed. Because ultimately, AI does have the potential to solve problems in healthcare, in climate change. These are problems that transcend national borders.
Caroline, the story of the week in this industry was Sequoia splitting into 3, right? And one of the rationales being that they can have a unit focused on China because there is opportunity in China. There's entrepreneurs and there's support from the government.
Yeah, but they can't seemingly manage to do that from a globally coordinated manner with the back office that serves all 3. And to that point, Cathy, how global can you be as a venture fund right now? How much are you able to navigate these geopolitical headwinds?
That's a great question, Caroline. And I got to tell you, I'm closely watching what's happening with Sequoia. The news is relatively new, so I can't speculate on what is happening in Sequoia. But the moves they have made will for sure impact the venture capital industry. And what Sequoia has publicly said already, which is managing a global organization is difficult, right? You have to consider portfolio conflicts, not just in the U.S., but in multiple geographies. It is, in fact, very, very difficult to handle. And Sequoia's solution to break the firm up into 3 separate entities is just one solution. But I'm very curious to see if other large global venture capital firms who are also investing in other countries follow suit or come up with other creative strategies.